Hi guys, welcome to another Feedback Friday. Today I'll be vlogging and reviewing all 3 books that Lexie Elliott has written so far. See you after the break. Or intro. Hi guys, I know I look different from my pre-intro and from like 5 seconds from now, but here's the thing. Sorry. Last night was the hottest night of the year. I could not sleep at all. In fact, I went to bed at 4 in the morning and my beautiful partner woke me up at 7:15. And my son decided to wake me up at 7:20. I couldn't sleep anymore. So what do? Grab my coffee, grab my camera, because when I can't sleep, I think. And you know what I decided to do yesterday? You know what? Summer is almost over. Because of COVID restrictions, I didn't go anywhere. So I decided that I'll vlog a mini vacation. And who's taking me on vacation, you ask? Lexie Elliott, of course. So, with her, this week on this vlog, I'm gonna go to France with a French girl. I'm gonna go to Scotland with the missing years. And I'm gonna go to an island somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but I know it's an island with beautiful beaches and luxury villas. Sounds good, right? I mean, I wish I had all the water around me, but so I just wanted to stop now and let you know this is what I'm doing, because I just had this idea. If I put it out there and I start a vlog because of my type A OCD, I'll have to finish it. So what I'll do after now is I'll drink my coffee, I'll take a shower, I'll sit outside, and I'll start with the French girl. I'll read them in order. And I'll come back for an update either later today if it's not too hot, or tomorrow. But when I come back for my first update, I'll have my first impressions of the French girl and the synopsis for all the books, just so you know. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry you had to see me first thing in the morning. I hope I'm not as scary as I think I am. But that's it. See you with my update. Hey everyone, welcome to my first update. I apologize about my hair. This is the first summer I've had hair since I lost it all to chemo, so I don't know if my hair has changed or if the summer is extremely humid, but oh my god, I've never had hair this puffy. Oh well, Monica problems, right? So I'm starting with the French girl. So far, I've only read 1 chapter, but I figure I would stop in here and let you guys know the synopsis before I get too much into it. It's also getting very hot, so I might just finish reading it in my room with the AC. As you can see, I have already started, and so far I have 3 colors for tabs. I've got quotes, clue, and characters. I usually don't do quotes or anything, but the start of this book was so awesome. I decided to tab that, even if it's the only one of the whole thing. So it starts like, looking back, the most striking thing is that she knew I didn't like her, and she didn't care. That type of self-possession at the tender age of 19, well, it's a natural. Or French. She was very, very French. So during the first line, it's our narrator, Kate, talking about the titular French girl, Séverine. I'm not sure if I'm saying the name right. Apologize to all my francophones out there. So in the French girl, we follow these 6 friends. Some are closer than others, and by closer I mean even close. And They all just had their last year at Oxford, and they decide that, you know what, they want to have the best week of their lives. So they rent this French farmhouse, and they go there for the whole week to have like a great summer. Their summer starts off strong. They're really enjoying it. There is until the neighbor, Séverine, who's a French girl that comes in and, slides and slithers her way into that group. Kate doesn't like her from the get-go. There's just something about the girl she doesn't like. But truth be told, Severine's presence was a catalyst. What do I mean by that? I mean that just by being there and being herself and having people react to her, some tensions that were, just under the surface started wanting to bubble over, and bubble over they do. They actually boil over on their last night at this farmhouse, where things come to a head and their friendship will never be the same. There's just, some things that can never be forgiven and some people that can never be forgotten. Would the French girl be one of those that can't be forgotten? Who knows? But she disappeared. The last time anyone saw her was that night. Close the chapter, right? Fast forward to 10 years after. One of the group, Tom, gets this call from the French police saying that they found Séverine. And she's not alive. Her body was found at a well behind the farmhouse. Kate is kind of worried because during that summer, there has been some things that she tried to, push to the back of her mind and forget to the best of her abilities. But now, as they all have to be questioned by the French police, those things will come to surface, and maybe some things will come to surface that will threaten Kate's life and everything she has worked really hard to achieve. That's it. This is the French girl. I'll give a quick update and move on. No, I'll do the update at the end of my synopsis because then I can continue on with just a French girl. So next, the second book that she has written is a bit thicker, is The Missing Years. And this seems to be a very eerie, atmospheric book that takes place in this old manor in Scotland, actually in the middle of nowhere in Scotland. Ooh. So in The Missing Years, we follow Elsa. She's this girl that when she was really young, she used to live in this eerie house that we mentioned. But then something happens and her dad just disappears. He goes missing, like without a trace. He disappears. She never hears back from him, right? Fast forward 27 years, I believe her mom dies, so she inherits this house, her childhood home. Only she doesn't get the whole house. She only gets half of that house because the other half still belongs to her dad, who has never been declared dead because he just disappears. So Elsa thinks, you know what, I'll leave my life behind in London and I'll go there. Maybe it'll be for the best. I mean, it's a beautiful home, right? I'm assuming it's a manor after all. And maybe she can reconnect to some memories from her childhood. So she goes, but for some reason she takes her estranged half-sister with her. They're living there, they're living their best lives. And then Elsa starts to notice some weird, creepy things. Like they have this gated garden and none of the animals seem to want to go into the garden. In fact, they seem to avoid it. But then, she feels like everywhere she's in the house, she's being watched. It's like the house itself is watching her and stalking her. So she has this very deep feel of unease. And then one day, in the middle of the night, Ilsa has an encounter with a very unwelcome intruder. And from the night on, she's going to start to fear for her life and wonder if she's safe at all in the house. And that's all I know from the missing years. And the third book, which is also the third release by Lexie Elliott, and just came out on August 17th, is How to Kill Your Best Friend. I'm really looking forward to it. This is one of my most anticipated books. And I think this is the one that maybe put that seed in my head and that started it all, let's say. Even though I already had the other books. In here we have Georgie, Lisa, and Bronwyn. They are best friends. They have been best friends since college. They are all very, very strong swimmers. And the strongest swimmer of the bunch is Lisa. Lisa, who had just moved from England, and this is my last destination on this, book tour vacation. We are going to Canoe, I'll put the name here, Grove. And this is off an island in this beautiful paradise with luxury villas galore, one of which is owned by Lisa and her husband. So Lisa, the strongest swimmer, one day out of the blue decides to go swimming. But she heads to one of the most treacherous waters around her, and that makes no sense. She dies. Georgie and Braun, they go to Lisa's celebration of life. So they are on the island. But for some reason, they're feeling very, very uneasy. They can't put a finger on it. Maybe it's because Lisa's death was very suspicious and mysterious. After all, she is a super, super strong swimmer. Like, I can tell you how strong she is. Well, I can't because I don't know her, but you know what I mean. Maybe it's because Lisa's death was very suspicious. I mean, after all, why was she going for a swim in waters that she know can't be trusted? Mysterious, right? Or maybe it is because both Georgie and Braun deep down suspect that Lisa was a murderer. Whatever it is, they still feel this unease and things get worse when, of course, weather intervenes and there is this storm that locks everyone onto the island. And let's just say that apparently Lisa's death is just the beginning. So as I mentioned so far, I'll just go into my update of the day. I'll come back with you tomorrow. Maybe I'll have finished it. Who knows? But so far I only read one chapter, and it seems like really interesting. As I said, I have only read one chapter, but if it looks as though Kate is going to be our only narrator, who knows? But I suspect there'll be dual timeline because some things happened 10 years in the past. Lexie Elliott writing is really easy to follow and very engrossing. I really enjoying so far what has been going on. And we've heard of Carl, whom Kate does not like. Sab, which Kate seems to be in love with or was in the past. They were an item up to a point. It has been mentioned that they broken up, but we don't know anything else about them other than the names. We have briefly got an introduction to Lara, who is still friends with Kate. Kate, obviously, Tom, who made a call, even though he was just making the call. We don't know much about his life. But we also heard that one of the six, Theo, has been dead. We don't know why or how or what. But this is it. We know the name of all the suspects. We know where they have been up to. And I can't wait to go back to the past and keep reading this. I'll go back inside. It's really hot right now. I'll probably finish cooking dinner, lodge myself in front of my AC and keep reading. And I'll see if I finish this today or tomorrow. But as soon as I brew my coffee, I'll come back with an update. See you. Good morning, beautiful people. Thank you for joining me for my morning coffee. I drink mine black. How do you drink yours? Oh, well, day 2. I was hoping to have finished the French Girl yesterday, but I didn't. I got to page 158, which is about halfway through, but it was just too hot. I kept tossing and turning, and all I could think about is that I was highly uncomfortable, so I decided to try to sleep, and that didn't work. We are in the middle of like one of the worst heat waves I can remember. So far, I'm really enjoying this book. So yesterday, I got to about halfway with The French Girl. First update, I was wrong about 2 things. This is told only one single POV, and that's Kate's, and is not dual or multiple timelines. It's solely the present. So we find everything that happened, and we ease into the solution through Kate's point of view. So it's through her that we get to know the characters. It's through her memories that we get to visit the past, and it's through her impression of Séverine that we get to know who she might have been, even though it's clear from the beginning that Kate's opinion of her is very biased and not in a good light. I really love this choice because, first of all, we don't know if Kate is unreliable or not. Jury is out. I chose to really identify. No. I actually really identify with her, so I'm hoping she isn't. But I love this because she's such an easy character to follow, and we get to know all the characters through her eyes. I feel what she feels, man. I'm not in for Carol. I really dislike that girl. I think I would have disliked her even if Kate liked her, and she was described the same way. But it's I always love when the character with whom you identify doesn't like the same character you don't. And on the opposite token, I'm here for Lara. She is a delightful character. She is true and true, an empowered woman. She's funny, she's witty. I wish I could be her friend. And then we have the boys. Theo, we haven't really heard much about him here, which is weird because the farmhouse actually belonged to his parents. Seb just popped up in the pages. Jury is out. I'm not sure I like him. In fact, I think I don't. And then we have Tom, who's like, oh my god, I really like Tom as a character as well. And this choice has... Okay, going back to Kate's unreliability. I think she is a reliable narrator, but there's one thing that makes you wonder. I don't really think it's a spoiler because it starts early on the pages. But if you don't like spoilers, just mute. And when I do this, you can come back. But from the beginning, she seems to be seeing Séverine. And not just her as she was, mostly her as she is now. Bones, skull, all the 9 yards. We don't know if she's seeing that because she has repressed memories, and that's my take. That is repressed memories, and that's the way her brain wired the image every time she's getting close to those memories, or if she has something to hide, or if it's something else. We don't know, but jury is out, but so far I'm really enjoying Kate's POV. Welcome back. No more spoilers from now on. The only thing I'll say is that if you can see here, I have a lot of green and blue tabs. Greens are what I consider, breadcrumbs or clues in the book that might lead to the solution, or at least what I suspect might lead to the solutions. And blue are characters. I'm surprised that they are basically on a ratio of 1 to 1. And I was thinking about that last night right before I put the book down, and I think it is because I have a feeling this book relies a lot on the character's personality. That's the feel I get. So every time I see something that I might indicate a murder, or I think it's in the page and it leaps out to me as if it could be a clue to the solution, or, another brick on the yellow road. I've been tapping it. Not only that, but we have 7 very distinct individuals in this book that we get to know, albeit through Kate's point of view, but they are all very full, very rounded, very multidimensional. So I'm also enjoying getting to know all of them. So I tab every time I see something that I think really leaps from the page as it uniquely their own personality. And they are all delightful characters. So this is my first update for the half. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I know I will finish this book today and hopefully start The Missing Years as well. It's going to be another scorcher of a day, and some storm is supposed to start soon. So I will not do another update today because I'll either be melting or it'll be too wet outside. But anyway, I'll see you tomorrow with my wrap up and review of this book, as well as an update on The Missing Years. Thank you for being here. Stay safe, stay cool, and see you tomorrow. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to day 3 of Vacation with Lexie Elliott vlog. I have woke up early, went to the dentist. Half my face is frozen, but that's fine. I only dropped half my coffee on my shirt. But here we are. Are you interested to know how things been? Okay, so I finished The French Girl yesterday. I don't know if you can see it. I tabbed almost to the 80% mark, even with some blues. This is amazing. Usually when I tap those, I get like character tabs, like just on the first third maybe, and some clues sprinkled through the last third. But this one, there were things that kept coming and going, and I was really impressed. It was thoroughly enjoyable. I highly recommend this. The last paragraph was amazing. I'm not going to read it to you because it for sure will spoil the book. One of the few times I remember having a book that the first sentence and the last sentence are powerful and equally strong was with The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. And I think because I still have 2 more books to talk about, should we go to the rating and my review of this book? First of all, I highly recommend both Lexie Elliott. I love her prose. I love the way she wrote. It really vibed with my reading style. I love how she focused on the characters. And there's been quite a few characters like Alina, Sab, and Gordon that they are barely on the page. But even for like the few percentage of, printing space they take, you get a full picture of who they are. They really leaped through the page and you feel like you were right there with those characters. I am highly impressed with the fact that this book has some elements from the past, right? When the French Girl first went missing. And it has about 7 I would call main characters, the 7 characters that were there in the past. And Lexie Elliott chose to narrate it in the present, only through Kate's point of view. And I was like, oh my God, girl, do you know what you're doing? And let me tell you, she did. That was completely amazed. I'm so impressed how I was able to get a full picture of all the characters and of what's going on now and what happened in the past only through Kate's point of view. Like, that was, I think, the main reason why I was hooked from beginning to end and why I became an instant Elliott fan. It was like a new, fresh take, and I really, really enjoyed the way she told the story. It was highly immersive. The mystery was equal parts, psychological clues. No, it was more psychological clues, actually. The mystery was mostly psychological clues, but some things did rely on the account of the witnesses. So they were like physical clues and things like that. All the yellow bricks were there for us to make the road, and I really highly enjoyed it, and the ending was very satisfying. I'll miss some of the people in here. I'll definitely miss Kate, Tom, and Laura most of all. I actually even miss Severine. The way she started and how she, like, there hasn't even been any account of her speaking, but just through Kate, it was like just phenomenal how well you got to know her and how I, at least, was fond of her by the end. For my score, shall we? And this time I'll remember I call them mustaches. For enjoyment, 10. Like, I only put it down when I had to. I really, really loved it. For ambiance, fairness, and plot, I gave a 10 for the reasons I mentioned before. Obviously, execution was a 10, especially on how well that one point of view worked to give you like a full multi-dimensional picture of everyone and everything. The only thing though is for character, bear with me here. I gave the French girl a 9 out of 10. And the only reason I did this is for all the characters that were on the page, like I mentioned, even if they were for like this teeny bit of time, they were amazing. You felt like you knew them. Like they were like, you knew them, okay? But, as it's mentioned right in the beginning of the book, and I talked about it before, Theo is dead, so he's not part of the present. But I feel like I don't know him at all. And I felt like I wish I had known him such a little bit because of the way he died. Was very impressed. I would have loved to put 2 and 2 to see his motivation for that. And also, the house did belong to his parents. So it seems that he was like a pivotal glue member of the whole group. So I wish I had known him a little bit more. But that's it. So it's not 9 because the characters were there in the page were flawed. It's just because there was one character that I wish I had known more. But that still brings this book, which is a debut novel, mind you, to a 4.92 mustaches. That's impressive in my book. Pick it up if you haven't. Let's move on to the missing years. Right in the beginning of the vlog, I gave a brief review where basically we follow Elsa, who has moved in with this manor that they call Moss. In Scotland, she inherited from her mom, who just passed away. So she goes there to put 2 and 2 together and figure out what she's going to do with her inheritance. And she brings her sister, half-sister Claire, with her. Claire is an actress and she's part of a play that is taking place very near where the Moss is. But there's a kicker, right? Elsa only owns half the house. The other half belongs to her dad, who disappeared mysteriously 27 years in the past. On the first night, there's an intruder, and from there, things escalate. Elsa suspects that there's more to the house than meets the eyes. Is it haunted? Is someone coming in? We don't know, but we suspect that along with her, like in the first 10 pages. So far, I am on chapter 9. That's page 103. I started tabbing. I have pink for character, yellow for clue. I haven't done any quotes yet, but somehow I felt the need to put some notes on this one. First of all, I want to say, I don't know if you can see this. Every chapter, it starts with like a little brief paragraph that starts with my father. I suspect after reading it, even the first one, that it might be either fantasies that Elsa had because she doesn't know what happened to her father, or diary entries, or a game she played, or something like that. Again, it is not clear at all that those thoughts, those paragraphs, that game, or whatever it is, belongs to Elsa. We really don't know. Paragraphs about my father. Then, another thing that I found so interesting is that so far, I think I'm a little less than 30% into the book. But the house itself, it's written, and I have the feel like the house has personality, is like a character, which I'm so down for. I love when the ambience is a character and adds to the atmosphere, and you thinking all the time what else is going on, and you don't know if it's supernatural or human, and this is where I am with this book. I will say that mainly for this first 100 pages, we get to know Elsa. A little bit about her past, a little bit about her thoughts and motivations, but we don't even have many other characters. Claire and James showed up just slightly. Just before chapter 9, Claire and Elsa go to a pub, and in there we meet a lot of the characters that I'm assuming are going to take more part through the rest of the book, and oh my freaking god, were they delightful. I really enjoyed that pub scene. I'm not going to ruin a lot because I want you to have the experience I had of first getting to know Elsa, but that pub scene made me jealous. I wish I was there. And actually, the way it was written, I felt like I was there, part of that group. It was so alive, so vibrant, so real, that I'm really impressed. Jury is out, but I think I'll confirm, and I can say it, that I believe Elliott's superpower is character development, character building, the way she makes characters real, and it makes me feel like I'm right there with them and I know them, even if there's not much that you know, like they leap through the page. You have to believe me in this. It's amazing. I'm so excited. I'm gonna put this down for now because I have to record tomorrow's video, edit it, and then I'm gonna read this book for the rest of the day, and I hope I end it because it's so good. Really impressed so far. So this is my update for day 3. See you tomorrow. Hi guys, it's been a while. Today is September 1st. And I haven't updated you guys in a while, but it's because I put down the missing years for a few days. Not because it wasn't amazing, because it was. It was more because I started dreaming about my dad and I recognized my triggers. So I just took a step away from that. But I finished it yesterday. And let's just say that by the end, I was crying. This is probably longer already, so I'll jump to the review. Okay, I have a lot of things to say about this. There was like an amazing quote that I can't tell you because it would be spoiling the book. Like 2 quotes, and one of those were like, "My father is," and I think that's when I put the book down for a little bit. That was "My father is" right before chapter 21, if you ever read the book. When I read that, I dreamed about my dad that night, and I don't know, it just made me sad, but in a good way, I guess. We don't miss people we haven't loved, right? But anyway, I think the jury has come back with a verdict. Characters are really, really, really Miss Elliott's superpower. I enjoyed all of these characters in this book. And one of the things that I really liked the most about her characterization, it's not what I liked the most about it, but it was something that really set her apart, was the fact that there is a 7-year-old boy in this book that we meet later, Callum, and oh my god, he was so real. Elliott managed to write a child as a child. Not for a moment did he read like an adult was writing him. He really read like it was a full-bodied, nuanced, real-life child that you could meet, and he was all freaking adorable. Like, how can you not fall in love with him? I mean, if you don't, comment down below if you read the book. But anyway, another thing that I really, really enjoyed about this book that I can say right now is how different this is from The French Girl. Even though we only have one narrator and they are narrating the present, we get to know everything here. There is not really any throwback to the past in this book because all of the people that could have talked about the past are really not there anymore. So that was another difference, and also like just the tone of this book is much different than the tone of the French Girl. This is a much, much slower burn. I can honestly say that other characters were introduced who was necessary to the plot, especially probably on the last third. But we spend a lot of time living in Elsa's head. We really get to know her as a character. We really get to see how she evaluates her life and how she slowly let people win, how she matures almost. There is like a big evolution in this book, and it really, really made me happy. I loved Elsa because she knew she was flawed, but she was happy with it. But throughout the book, she decides that she's not afraid to change anymore, and she makes changes towards being a different person, in her opinion, a better person, that she wasn't willing to give the energy to before. I really loved getting to know her. And another thing that I love about the characters that Elliott writes is it doesn't matter what character it is. At some point, you will identify with at least one facet of those characters. They are so relatable, so real, so nuanced that it's impossible not to. Again, I think there's a few characters in this book that I really loved. I really loved our protagonist, Elsa. I really loved Fiona and Callum. And I would say that I could truly see myself as, you know, I could really see everything through both Fiona's eyes and Elsa's eyes. Whenever things were happening, I could understand them as people and somewhat relate to them. So, like, wow. Another part of the characterization that I really, really loved in this book was the fact that there's no insta anything in this book. Elsa doesn't come to the town and then instantly fit in. She doesn't move in with her strange sister and instantly get along with her. She doesn't get to know the other people around her age in the town and instantly get along with everyone. No, in fact, she doesn't like some of them. Is the true evolution of friendship, especially when you meet a group of people at once. And everything was so well done. As always, she really played fair. All the clues were within the text, which, you know, is something that I really appreciate. Now, let's talk about the plot. The plot is, you know, a trope that we've seen before, you know, especially, you know, in Scotland or isolated, gothic, is it haunted mansion, is a trope, an idea, a plot that I love. But some of them can be quite repetitive, and it takes almost like a genius or someone who knows what they're doing to put a new spin of it and make it completely unique and original. In my opinion, Lexie Elliott really did that. I think this whole story is her own, and she put enough elements in it that were fresh and unique, and I really appreciated that. Her execution was superb. I can't complain about that. I liked her choices. I like how we spent most of it, especially the first quarter, mainly in Elsa's mind. We didn't really get to know other people. I think it was really a brilliant choice for us to get to know Elsa and feel this immersive. I love how she made such a believable 7-year-old character. I love how the house is a character in itself. The atmosphere was like on point from whatever, like the paranoia, the claustrophobia, the fear that the house might be haunted or you might be going crazy. The house itself, I could visualize it. I could see the things happening. The vibe of the whole town that has been affected by Elsa's dad disappearing 27 years ago. Like, I cannot fault. It was very easy to imagine, to put yourself in that and to see the story and to feel the story. So it's no surprise to you that for all of these criteria, I gave this book a 10 out of 10. The only criteria that I gave a 9 out of 10, and again, this is not Lexie's fault at all, was enjoyment. I love this book. I will read it again 100%, but it was really hard sometimes to put myself in Elsa's mind and see things through her point of view, because I could relate too intensely to how she feels about her dad. Okay, when I was a teenager, I didn't get along with my dad for quite a few years. And during that time, I would sometimes just fantasize of different versions of himself. And because I saw this on the page, I kept sometimes just going back to the fantasies I had. I have a really happy story. And my ending was really happy because he became my best friend again when I was in adulthood. And, well, I really miss him. But because of that, I didn't enjoy as much. But then again, this, I think, only speaks to Lexie Elliott's ability to draw the reader in. So, as a total for this book, I have 4.92 mustaches. Amazing. So now, for the last book, and I'll give you an update. I only read 2 chapters. If you know me, I cannot start a book in a month and finishing another month, it just drives me bonkers. So I didn't start it yesterday for that reason. I started it today, just so I can log it properly. Quirks, right? But anyway, How to Kill Your Best Friend. You've just seen me give the synopsis, but basically, at the moment, we're following Georgie and Braun that come to the Southeast Asia idyllic island to, attend a memorial for their friend Lisa's, who has died swimming in very dangerous waters. I only read 2 chapters so far, but here are my first impressions. I freaking love Georgie. She is a delightful character. She's no nonsense. She's very much herself, non-apologetically. She feels like someone that I could really be friends with. She's honest. I don't know if she's sensitive yet or not, but she doesn't regret anything that she does. So far, I've only read 2 chapters, and I can tell you that we have 2 narrators, because it started with Georgie's point of view, then we went to Braun, went back to Georgie, and Brownie is something that I would not get along with. She's neurotic. She's obsessed with appearances. She overanalyzes everything, like to the point that as she walks around, she pays attention to all the details. But she's that person that tries to tell everyone how altruistic she is, but she only looks after themselves. I mean, that's the impression I had. Maybe it's because I didn't like her from the get-go as a person, because as a narrator, she's fantastic. But be ready to be in someone's mind that is completely self-involved, self-absorbed, and neurotic. I don't have any other words for her. I don't like her at all as a person, like I said, but I love her as a character. It is really fun, so I can't wait to see as the book progresses how it is to go from one point of view to the other. But I can honestly say I already miss Georgie. I want her point of view back. It feels like we have a larger group of people. We do have these two best friends who were best friends with Lisa, the person who has died. But Lisa now is married to Jim. The one thing with Jim, though, I don't know if you guys watch that cartoon, Jim and the Holograms or something. And every time I read his name, like the first verse of the theme song plays in my head, but it is what it is. The other friends that are always with swimming and that has been mentioned are Adam and Duncan, two men, and they are on the island now as well. And there has been two friends that were mentioned that have died. Maddie, we don't know anything about her yet, just that they attended a funeral for her. And Graham, and he used to be married to Lisa. So he was Lisa's first husband who has passed away, and they were all part of this group from university who has been close friends for like 17 years. I love when she has a lot of characters because they are so nuanced, so different from each other that it just melts my heart to watch it. Them develop and intertwine and see how things go. This is a very interesting group of friends. Anyway, so there's that. And then the two other things that I really, really love so far is I really love those entries in the missing years before each chapter. This is freaking amazing. For this one, we have them too. Maybe, I don't know, they are not in the beginning of each chapter because so far we've only had one. We have these gifts throughout the book. The title is How to Kill Your Best Friend, Method, whatever. So I'm really enjoying these. They are like dark human are at their best and quite relatable. You can see like someone just really putting their pen on the paper and say, no, let's find the right method because I don't want to be caught. And the other thing that I have really enjoyed so far is the fact that all the books are somehow not connected, not an evolution, but yes, connected in evolution of each other because it feels that there's always something that is, a minor part of the plot in one book, and then in the other book it becomes a bigger part of the plot. Not that it has anything to do with the way it's solved or anything, or maybe it's in my head. But for example, so in The French Girl, there is mention of bones. In The Missing Years, bones play a bigger part. In The Missing Years, Elsa goes for a swim, and there's a little talk about, the world of swimming. And now in How to Kill Your Best Friend, swimming is a major plot point, and we get to know more about different kinds of swim and how swim is important to the character's life. So it's almost like I'm going to try to guess by the end of this what's going to show up in her next book, or no, I'll just be surprised. But I think this is almost like a gift Elliott is giving us. So I'm really enjoying this far. Spoiler alert, I love the girl Autobi already, but I'll reserve my judgment for the end when I come back tomorrow with my review of How to Kill Your Best Friend that I am just going to lock myself in my room and finish it right now. And my thoughts and wrap up. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk tomorrow. I finished reading How to Kill Your Best Friend by Lexie Elliott, and I am here to tell you about it. So I kept thinking, I don't know how to review this book, because how do you review an amazing book? Method 1. You call the author and you let her know. Oh, but I don't have her number. Method 2. You can DM her and thank her for the book. But she probably doesn't know who you are and is not going to see it or reply to it. Okay? Method 3. Go old school and send her a letter. Because, there's probably a P.O. box to her publishers. I could do that, but I don't think I can write a letter without feeling like a stalker. So that's not going to work. I know. Method 4. Buy the book and the audiobook so you can let the publishers know that this author is adored and they should keep publishing her books. I've already done that, but that doesn't feel like enough. So I think I have no option but to go with method 5, which is to vlog about it, blog about it, talk about it on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter ad nauseum, which I probably will. I apologize, people, if I keep talking about it, but I will talk about this book more because, you know, I have a feeling this might even make into my top 10 reads of 2021. Who knows? But I can't scream about it to all 4 winds and anyone that can hear if I don't tell people exactly why they should love, support, and read How to Kill Your Best Friend, as well as Lexie Elliott's other books. I'll start with my spoiler alert. And instead of like doing things separately, as soon as I start talking about this book, you're gonna know that yes, for all my criteria, this book got a 10, and this is a 5-star read. With that out of the way, I'll tell you exactly why. First and foremost, the characterization. Again, it is her freaking superpower. You feel like you know these people inside out. Whenever they do something, it doesn't feel weird, foreign, or strange because you can see them doing it. That's how well you know. Even characters that you get to see or meet through someone else's point of view. I was secretly curious and afraid to see how she would continue to do this characterization through the point of view of 2 different narrators. And oh my God, did she knock it out of the park. Like, first of all, each character remained themselves throughout the whole book. All the characters. But then there's more. So not only through Georgie and Braun's point of view, you get, for example, to see Tom and Adam as they are. It was a nuanced version of themselves because you could see the bias of the narrator coloring some of that character's actions. You know what I mean? I hope it makes sense to you. It made sense to me, but it's like they were slightly different depending on the chapter you were in, if it was Georgie or Braun, but they were themselves. And it makes me like, this is like a study in human, you know, behavior, because that's it is. We wear so many hats. I am me, I am Paulina, but for each person that interacts with me, they see something else that someone else doesn't. So it's like we a multitude of people, but we just one. Okay, I'm getting too philosophical, but just trust me, this was amazing. Not only that, all the characters were, you know, 3-dimensional, multidimensional. They leapt through the page. They were nuanced. They had their own motivations, and they were different from all the characters from the other books. And I can also say, having read all 3 back to back, no character is unlike the other. Then there's the fact even Georgie and Braun, to me, they were very much throughout the book how I had, you know, first perceived them. However, it was very interesting to see how Lisa brought different things for each of them. There is something about Lisa that around her, Braun is more reckless. She is more emotional, and it's like she doesn't have a grasp on everything like she liked to control. So Lisa has this effect on her. And then on Georgie, who's almost like fearless to the point of reckless, and around Lisa brings out this softer, more vulnerable side of her. She doesn't try to, sorry, so my hand is hurting. She doesn't keep her walls up. That makes such like a tough cookie around Lisa. So I really liked that, and without Lissa, Braun, and Georgie are different friends as well. So that was like one of my favorite things about the book, was just to see these human nature nuances in all of the character, especially our two main protagonists and Lissa, whose shadow permeates the whole book. The atmosphere was amazing on this book. Like, I could actually see myself in that island, to the point that I was almost bitter that I wasn't. And there's a lot of swimming references. And even though I'm not a swimmer, I didn't feel lost. Everything made sense, was so well described. There's a little hint of the supernatural with some legends of a mythical creature, canoe. So easy to imagine myself in there, so I really appreciate that. I thought the plot was fantastic, original. The execution was superb. As always, she plays very fair. I could not put this book down. It was like so good to read. But the one thing that I love the most about this book is that reading the climax, I realized Lexie Elliott actually has two superpowers. Not only her characters are amazing, but in all of her books, the climax, the last act actually, is so action-packed. It's so intense in whatever she's choosing to emote. I'm not saying that it's like an action movie, but it's like your heart pounds. Like, there's like one scene in here, like the last, like literally the climax. My heart was pounding. I was reading. I just wanted to know what was going to happen. I was invested in the outcome of all of them. And it was written like, oh my God, I have a really hard time imagine things when I read. I feel it, so I can imagine myself there, but I can't say that I can visualize it. I don't visualize it. I just see it like in my mind's eyes, that if it's happening, I don't know if it makes any sense. But that scene, not only could I see it, but I'm begging for people to adapt this. This needs to be either a miniseries, Netflix, or a full-on movie. There's so many elements in it that would make for a fantastic blockbuster. Like, swear to God, take my word for it. Not only that, I think anyone that is watching this should read this book. First of all, there's action, there's friendship, there's psychological thriller elements, there's a little bit of the supernatural. There's even a romance. Even though the romance is not on the page, you get to see how two characters get closer as the book progresses. And I loved how everything was done just psychologically, because there's no like, oh, kissy, like your typical romantic things. But if you are a romance reader who also likes some thrillers, this is for you as well. If you like dark humor, this is for you. If you like thrillers, this is for you. If you like to read, this is for you. So that's it. And the audiobook that I said I wanted to really support Lexie Elliott after reading all her books and loving them. I went ahead and I got her audiobooks as well. It was amazing, easy to understand. We have two narrators, so that's pretty good as well. Not only that, those scenes, like I mentioned, how to kill your best friend methods, that was like so cheeky, so fun, and continue throughout the whole book. So there's 8 different ways you can kill your best friend. And last but not least, I just want to say that I fell in love with Georgie. She is everything I hoped she would be from the beginning. She is easily my favorite character in this book. And did I warm up to Braun? The answer is no. I continue to not really like her, even though I warmed up to her. And one of the reasons that I warmed up to her the most is because she is really smart. And second, because of this one quote by her. I won't give you context, not to spoil the book, and I won't mention who this person is with at this time, but it is a sentence by Braun about her children's toys. One of them makes an extremely loud chirping every 20 seconds or so. I suddenly hope it has an off switch. Otherwise, the batteries might mysteriously go missing sometime very soon. If you have a child, if you're around children, I have a boy, and I work with children, I can tell you there's nothing more annoying than a freaking toy that makes noise and comes with no off button. And yes, it has to be a conspiracy out there against parents. Toy makers usually don't put an off button on the loudest of their toys. This is a true fact. So because I felt Braun's pain, I started warming up to her, but that's that. My relatability to her ended right there. Talking about ending, that's it. I actually had a lot of fun, and I thought it was so amazing to be able to read all of an author's, library in one go, because you can really see not only the evolution as authors, but you can really gauge whether they are original or not. And also all the characters are so fresh in your mind that by the end of the experience, you feel like you walked away with a ton of best friends. And I now have another amazing Insta-buy author that I'll definitely be supporting moving forward. I'll pre-order all of her books, and I highly recommend that you check all of them out, especially How to Kill Your Best Friend. I mean, all of them. But I'm just saying especially How to Kill a Best Friend because it just came out. So this is where your support really, really will matter and impact the most. And as always, I don't say this often, but another way that you can really support your favorite authors is by reviewing. Just by going on Goodreads or Amazon or whatever website you purchase the books from. If you just give a few lines just to say that your reading experience was amazing or not so amazing, or you liked or didn't like about the book, but giving a star review, this helps authors tremendously. And that's something that we can all do to make sure that our favorite authors continue to write amazing books that we can read, talk about, discuss, and use as an escape. I haven't been in many places because of COVID. I really miss being able to enjoy real life and going on vacation and traveling. And I'm really glad I did this vlog because I'll forever have this emotional memory of reading all her books and going on vacation. So I also will be forever thankful for Lexie Elliott for having, books that are in places that I actually want to go to and made me, want to read the books in order and go on vacation with her. So it was a good choice. I might do more vlogs like this where I read all of the books by an author. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Comment down below if you were fortunate enough to go anywhere this summer. If you have taken vacation, let me live vicariously through you as well. And that's what I have. Stay tuned for next week because I think you might be surprised. But other than that, have a wonderful weekend. Celebrate fall! My favorite season is here! And until next time, be the hummingbird.